Hi, my name's Ronan and you join us here at Okinawa for our flight up to Tokyo.
My name's Alex, welcome aboard this Japan Airlines A350-900 Class J.
And this is us here at Okinawa Terminal, just about to go and check in, so let's go and see how that experience is.
Naha Airport is conveniently located only 2.5 miles west of Naha. It is Japan's 6th busiest airport, and you can really tell the size of the airport here. It is built for it to be rather busy, although it was really quiet when we were there, which was great. A lot of this is self-service, like most of Japan. You turn up, you start using the machine, you put your booking reference or the QR code you get. It's not necessarily checked in, you just get a QR code to board, a bit like a bus or a train in some countries. I found it a little bit challenging to use, as you'll see here, but after we'd sorted that out, we were on our way. Roughly 21.5 million people used Naha, and it's constantly growing in size in terms of customer numbers. You can go from all over Asia to here. Taiwan seems to be really popular, and as you can tell, I don't pack light. That was 27 kilos in that case, but we had just come from a cruise, so I think that could be accepted, that I would need a lot of luggage. And you even have to self-tag here. There wasn't any staff to help, so I think if you were a little bit less tech savvy or not travel focused, you may struggle a little bit here to get that tag on. But once I'd worked that out, because it was a little bit different to what I'd used in other countries in Europe, the bag was all tagged, and then you just click the green light and off it goes into the black hole of the airport, you could say, and it just arrives back in Tokyo when we got off. But yeah, so that was our check-in experience. There was no staff, so it was all automated, which was quite nice, especially in the evening when you don't really want to talk to anyone. But as you can tell, I thought this airport looked rather American. Let us know in the comments what you thought. Was this an American-styled airport? I haven't looked into the history too much, so it could actually have been an American. But we headed down to A, which is the domestic departures for JAL and all other domestic airlines here in Japan. One thing to note is just how quiet it was today. So our review is for when this is quiet. I'm not sure what it's like when it's a little bit busier. Again, the domestic part of this airport felt very much like it did in Kansai. It was a very practical. So here we are at the security lane. They didn't have a priority lane, which if you had a gold card or you were in first class, you went straight through a super private lane into the lounge, but we didn't, so we were just through as a silver member at the time here. So we went through the normal security, but priority normal security, and arrived at the secure lounge. A lot of these I've heard are very similar. It's beautifully decorated, as you can expect from a Japan Airlines lounge, lots of wooden panels. It was busy, but it wasn't loud, as you would expect in Japan. You just had to check in at the front desk, and once they'd scanned your boarding pass, they pointed you into the lounge that you had access to. And here you can see them scanning a QR code, which was instead of a boarding pass. So here we are at the secure lounge for business class or silver card holders. They had 2 telephone booths, which is great. It means you don't actually have to get sort of disturb others when you're in the lounge with your phone calls. And as you can tell, it was rather busy but silent, as expected with a Japan lounge. Lots of seating, lots of singular seating, which was nice. Alex looked a little bit confused here, but we were just trying to get our bearings in the lounge. So here we are. There was just some light nibbles, and when I mean light nibbles, it was sort of some nuts pretzels. They had the automated beer pour, which is always really good, and this was Orion, which is the local beer of Okinawa, which I thought was a nice little touch. You've got your Coke freestyle machine, towel dispenser, and then even more seating round the corner. But I thought, let's try this Orion beer pourer, get my words out, and it just creates an absolutely amazing head on the beer. For an automated process, it's got to be a sort of 8 or 9 out of 10 for beer pouring. So on the way out of the lounge, I thought I'd speed this footage up, but as you can tell, there was a smoking area there and into the terminal area. It's not a great large terminal area. They do have a duty-free shop. We didn't have any time to go in there, but it's the same as in US domestic airports. Basically, you're going through the airport as people are leaving the airport, so it's quite weird. But here we are, just waiting for the gates to open, which was another fully automated process.
So security was a real breeze, and we've got a dedicated fast-track security lane. Literally took us 2-3 minutes to get through. There was no queue at all. And then we came around the corner, went left, and then straight into the lounge here, which had a good selection of soft drinks available, as well as the local beer, and then also a few spirits as well. Bit limited in terms of snack options. There were some fishy crisps that we didn't really decide, we didn't go for because it just didn't smell very nice. Well, Ronan had a taste of one fishy, and he doesn't like fish, and I smelt one and it just smelled like I dipped my hand in I don't know, a packet of salmon or something like that. So yeah, but other than that, it was a nice little lounge. I imagine it probably does get quite busy in there, maybe at some times, but we managed to find some seats. It's all very much, I think, more probably catered for those travelling by themselves. So there was kind of a lot of kind of single seating, but we managed to sit on some high seats so we could sit together. So yeah, an okay lounge for a domestic flight.
So here we are at the gate, boarding 20 minutes before our scheduled departure. Yes, you heard me right, 20 minutes. Other airlines around the world do definitely need to take note, although I do think it is massively helped here due to the Japanese culture, especially around efficiency and all that. I mean, they boarded this A350 in probably about 10 minutes. I mean, if this was Heathrow, you'd probably be... I mean, that's probably impossible. You'd probably expecting it to take 4 to 5 times as long as that. So super impressive, and it's really handy actually. You can just kind of board 20 minutes before instead of having to get on board and then wait for ages. So yeah, really like that. So here we are, and here we go into the cabin. On entering the aircraft, we were walking straight through the first class domestic cabin and then straight into Class J, which is their business class section, which I think is probably best described as premium economy seating with ample amounts of legroom. And as you can see, here's a very quick seat tour, so you're provided with some headphones, seat literature, and a nice size IFE screen. Not that you probably really need it on such a short flight. This was a 1 or 2 hour flight, so screens are a luxury, I guess, on any flight that length. And as you can see here, the recliners perfectly adequate for the flight today. I think another point to note, and I guess this is unique to the A350, the windows are absolutely massive compared to the smaller aircraft, 737s, A320s, and so on. And we also have this nice, lovely seat support as well, or leg support rather. Again, nice little touch. And just to show you the tray table, so here it is, it just comes out the side of your seat and extends like that. It was fairly sturdy on towards the right hand side, a little bit floppy, but again it's probably fine for this type of flight. And you can hear the Japanese, the JAL boarding music in the background there, and here's just Ronan showing you the IFE. Super duper responsive, and yeah, lots of entertainment options as well for you to watch and consider. Oh, and they also had the cameras enabled on this. Again, there's some other airlines out there, British Airways, that don't enable them or don't pay for them. Same with Iberia, which is really annoying, especially if you're a nav geek. Anyway, here we are pushing back and taxiing out to the Renault for our departure.
Please turn them off or set them to airplane mode. In case of emergency, please follow our instructions. If oxygen masks appear, hold the mask toward you and place it firmly around your nose and mouth. Place the band over your head and adjust.
As we're taxiing out, because Okinawa is heavily tied to the US because of their heavy military presence on the island, we did see some rather interesting hangars on the taxi out with, I think it was a few fighter jets and a few other interesting military aircraft as well, which was yeah, quite interesting to see.
Please make sure that your seatbelt is securely fastened. Also, please return your seat back, table, footrest, personal TV set, and a cup holder to their original positions. Please hold your baby while the seatbelt sign is on. Thank you.
If you're flying out of Okinawa on this runway, I'd definitely probably pick a seat on the right hand side and maybe fly in the day. It's quite a unique departure, so the aircraft levels off around about 1,200 feet for a few minutes. I'm guessing this is to stay clear of the military activity around Okinawa. Yeah, I'd say that's quite unique, never experienced that before, and imagine it's really, really pretty, especially on the right hand side in the day.
So just as we got to cruise, they came round with some juice, as it was on the JTA flight, which is another video we have published recently. But that's all it was. It was just some squash, well, juice, that took us all the way up to Tokyo. It was a perfect seat for that length of flight, and in all honesty, I think in a day flight you could travel from Japan to London on this and it would be perfectly adequate. It's a lot better than BA. Here's the toilets, again, immaculately clean. And I thought this felt really premium, just for premium economy / business short haul flight. Spotlessly clean, really nice colour palette, and it just felt really premium, and economy customers could use those toilets as well. So here we are, back in the cabin. It is a 242 layout. As you can tell, a lot of people were sleeping during the flight, but here we are coming back into Tokyo, and it was an absolutely beautiful approach.
in at Tokyo's Haneda's domestic terminal after about a 2-hour flight all the way over from Okinawa. But the flight itself was good, nice being on a 350 for such a short flight. Don't feel as dry as, well, at least we're on, I might actually cut this. Definitely don't feel as dry as the 737 down from Osaka. In terms of in-flight offering, there's no snack or anything, which is a bit disappointing. I was expecting a meal, but they did come around with one drink service, although I think they could have maybe squeezed another one in there. Other than that, crew were nice and friendly. Toilet on it was absolutely huge for the J and also I think economy passengers. And the seat itself is more than adequate for a 2-hour flight. I think anything longer than maybe 4 hours, it probably would start to become uncomfortable.
Yeah, so that's it. As Alex said, 2 and a bit hours up from Okinawa here to Tokyo Haneda's airport. 350-900, really nice on short haul. Consider the Class J is basically a premium cabin, probably it's basically like a miniature business class for domestic. It's 10 times better than anything we have in Europe for that length of flight. It's comparative to a premium economy long haul seat. So for 2 hours, certainly plenty full. And even if you're on there for 10 hours, the only thing that they need to add is a leg rest, but I'm sure that's for the luggage that people can put under the seat. Other than that, really would recommend Class J. Just that little bit up gives you a little bit of extra room, especially if there's 2 of you travelling, or even as 4, you can sit in the middle. Just gives you that little bit of extra room. The in-flight entertainment was all in Japanese, apart from the menu options, so that was a bit limited. And as Alex said, drink time there was only 1, but I think they're competing against trains here, and trains in Japan, you don't get that either. So for me, brilliant. And for the price of the flight, it was £130 per person, so really good value for money.
Train from Okinawa to here.
Yeah, but they're competing in terms of... Yeah, but they're domestic flights, so they're competing against the bullet train throughout Japan. So they're going to only offer... They're offering more than the bullet train. All the other options are ferry, so that takes 3 days.